Imagine a place where everyone knows your name. A place where people leave their doors unlocked, where neighbors become friends, and where the slow pace of life is broken only by the occasional town festival or school football game. But beneath the tranquil surface, secrets can fester. And sometimes, those secrets erupt into darkness. A darkness so profound that it leaves an indelible mark, haunting both the people who live there and the law enforcement officers sworn to protect them. Tonight, on Chilling Mysteries, we journey into the heart of small-town America to revisit the cases that have baffled investigators for decades. The small-town murders where victims vanished without a trace, leaving behind nothing but questions, fear, and a chilling sense that the killer might still be among them. Let's start in the woodlands of rural Kentucky, in the tiny town of Millfield, a dot on the map, with fewer than 2,000 residents. It was a community where everyone attended the same church, and gossip traveled faster than the school bus. On a humid June evening in 1987, 16-year-old Sarah Whitaker disappeared while walking home from her part-time job at the local diner. She'd taken the same route every evening, cutting through a grove of trees behind the elementary school. She never arrived home. Sarah's mother remembers the moment she realized something was wrong. The dinner table was set, Sarah's favorite casserole was in the oven, but the front door never opened. Minutes became hours, and then the phone calls began, first to friends, then to police. A search party was organized within hours, but not a single trace of Sarah was ever found. No footprints, no discarded belongings, nothing but the echo of her laughter, trapped forever in the memories of those who loved her. The investigation quickly ran cold. There was no evidence of a struggle, no sign of forced abduction, and no one in Millfield reported seeing anything unusual that night. The sheriff at the time described it as a ghost case. For years, rumors swirled. Some claimed Sarah had run away. Others whispered about a drifter seen in town days before her disappearance. But those rumors never led to anything concrete. The case remains unsolved, a wound that never healed for the Whitaker family or the town of Millfield. Sarah's disappearance is just one of many in a pattern that has haunted small towns across America. Each case is a reminder of how quickly safety can evaporate, how the familiar can turn to fear in an instant. And how, when someone vanishes without a trace, the questions left behind can be as devastating as the crime itself. Travel with me now to another small town, this one nestled deep in the forests of Oregon. The town of Pine Hollow had always prided itself on being a safe haven, a place where nature and community thrived in harmony. But in the summer of 1993, everything changed when a local family, the Harpers, vanished overnight. It began with a neighbor's concern. The Harpers' mailbox, usually emptied daily, overflowed for 3 days. Their 2 dogs, left outside, barked incessantly. Police entered the home on the 4th day and found a scene that has since become legendary among law enforcement circles. Dinner plates still on the table, a television still playing in the living room. There were no signs of forced entry, struggle, or violence. It was as if the family had simply vanished into thin air. Detectives scoured the property for clues. The family's vehicles were still in the driveway. Their passports and credit cards were untouched. The only thing missing, aside from the Harpers themselves, was a set of camping gear, hardly enough to suggest a planned departure. The search extended into the dense forest surrounding Pine Hollow, with hundreds of volunteers combing the underbrush and riverbanks. Bloodhounds picked up a scent trail that led to a nearby creek, before abruptly disappearing. To this day, no trace of the Harper family has ever been found. The case remains one of the most perplexing unsolved disappearances in Oregon's history. Theories abound: a botched robbery gone wrong, a secret life uncovered, even the possibility of occult involvement. But every theory has hit a dead end. For the residents of Pine Hollow, the disappearance changed the town forever. Doors were locked, strangers' faces were scrutinized, and the question of what happened to the Harpers lingers, a ghost that walks the woods at dusk. Small towns may seem unlikely settings for such chilling mysteries, but statistics tell a different story. According to the FBI, rural communities see a higher rate of unsolved disappearances per capita than large cities. The reasons are complex: fewer resources, smaller police departments, and a tendency to trust outsiders less, which can both help and hinder investigations. In these close-knit communities, secrets can be buried deep, and sometimes, those secrets are never unearthed. Let's revisit another case, this time from the Midwest. In 2002, the town of Willow Creek, Iowa, was shaken by the disappearance and suspected murder of a local mechanic, 42-year-old Doug Evans. Doug was a fixture in Willow Creek. He ran the only garage in town, fixed everyone's cars, and was known for his quick wit and generous spirit. On a chilly evening in October, Doug closed up shop and walked the 2 blocks to his home. He never arrived. The next morning, his wife found the garage door unlocked, the lights still on, and Doug's truck parked at the curb. His wallet and keys were on the workbench. Police found no evidence of robbery or struggle. But a single, muddy bootprint was discovered behind the garage, leading toward the woods. Investigators brought in search dogs, combed the forest, and even drained a small pond, but Doug had vanished. Rumors started immediately. Some pointed to a disgruntled customer. Others whispered about Doug's rumored affair with a married woman. The most persistent theory involved a traveling salesman who'd been seen arguing with Doug the week before. But as with so many small-town cases, the trail went cold. Years passed, and Doug's name faded from the headlines, but not from the memories of those who loved him. The Evans case is typical of so many small-town mysteries. With limited forensic resources and eyewitnesses reluctant to talk, investigators often hit roadblocks that would be less daunting in a larger city. And the longer a case goes unsolved, the more likely it is to become a permanent scar on the town's history. Let's shift our focus to a case that brought national attention to a small Texas town. In 2011, the community of Redfield, a town with just over 3,000 residents, was rocked by a brutal murder. 17-year-old Emily Vargas, a high school senior known for her academic achievements and volunteer work, was found dead in the woods behind her school. She had been strangled and left partially buried beneath a pile of leaves. The crime scene was brutal, but the investigation that followed was even more harrowing. Detectives discovered that Emily's last known whereabouts were at a school event the previous evening. Several classmates reported seeing her leave with an unknown man driving a blue pickup truck. But despite a massive manhunt, the suspect was never identified. Emily's murder sent shockwaves through Redfield. For the first time in living memory, parents kept children home from school, and the once bustling downtown grew eerily quiet after dark. The investigation stretched on for months, with detectives pursuing leads that reached as far as neighboring states. DNA evidence was collected from the crime scene, but it failed to match anyone in the national database. Over the years, the case grew colder. New detectives took over, each promising to bring fresh eyes and renewed energy. But the killer has never been found. Today, a memorial stands at the edge of the woods, a silent reminder of a life cut short and a case that still haunts everyone who knew Emily. What makes these small-town cases so chilling isn't just the violence or the loss, it's the way they warp the fabric of a community. In places where everyone is connected, a single tragedy can ripple outward, touching every life. And when answers never come, the sense of safety that once defined these towns is shattered, replaced by uncertainty, suspicion, and lingering fear. There's a psychological component to these unsolved mysteries that true crime enthusiasts know all too well. The lack of closure can be more terrifying than the crime itself. Families are left in limbo, forced to imagine every possible outcome. Townspeople start to look at each other with fresh suspicion. And the question, who did this, echoes in the silence, year after year. Now, let's look at a case that blurs the line between disappearance and murder. A case that became infamous in the annals of New England crime. In 1978, the small town of Maple Hollow, Vermont, was shaken by the disappearance of the Jensen family. The Jensens were well known: George, a local carpenter, his wife, Mary, and their 2 young children, Ben and Lily. On a snowy January morning, a neighbor noticed the family's car idling in the driveway, engine running, doors wide open. Inside the house, breakfast was half eaten, coats were missing, and a single set of footprints led away from the back porch and vanished into the woods. Police launched a massive search, enlisting state troopers, volunteers, and even the National Guard. Helicopters circled overhead, snowmobiles scoured the forests, and rivers were dragged for bodies. But the Jensens were never found. The only clue was a series of strange symbols drawn in chalk on the back steps. Symbols that matched those found in an abandoned barn several miles away, rumored to be the meeting place for a secretive group that once operated in the area. The Jensen case fueled endless speculation. Was it a cult abduction? A botched robbery? Or did the family flee from something, or someone, they feared? Decades later, the mystery remains unsolved. The house still stands, abandoned and overgrown, a silent sentinel over a secret that refuses to die. What links these cases, Sarah Whitaker, the Harper family, Doug Evans, Emily Vargas, the Jensens, is not just the brutality or the loss, but the way they have become woven into the lore of their towns. They are the stories whispered at campfires, the warnings parents pass down to children, the cold cases that haunt police long after the headlines have faded. For investigators, these cases are more than just unsolved crimes. They are personal failures, reminders of the limits of justice and the complexity of human nature. Many detectives who work these cases have spoken about the toll it takes, the sleepless nights, the endless reviews of evidence, the hope that one day, a single clue might break everything wide open. And sometimes, it does. Every so often, a new piece of evidence emerges. A forgotten diary is found in an attic. A DNA match is made thanks to advances in technology. A deathbed confession sheds light on a dark secret. But for every case that is finally solved, there are dozens that remain shrouded in mystery. Reminders that, even in the age of modern forensics, some secrets refuse to be uncovered. The fear that grips these small towns isn't just about the killer who might still be lurking in the shadows. It's about the realization that evil can strike anywhere, even in the most idyllic places. When someone vanishes without a trace, it forces everyone to confront the uncomfortable truth. We are all vulnerable, and sometimes, the answers we seek may never come. As you listen to these stories, ask yourself, what would you do if someone you loved vanished without a trace? How far would you go for answers? And what secrets might be lurking just beneath the surface of your own hometown? If you found these stories as chilling as we did, don't forget to subscribe to Chilling Mysteries for more true crime cases that continue to haunt police, families, and entire communities. And remember, sometimes the most terrifying mysteries are the ones that happen right next door. Stay safe, stay vigilant, and join us next time as we uncover more of the dark secrets hidden in the shadows of small-town America.